aka Emery McMillan, and today I have with me a really dope coach, a really dope individual. I call her a friend, and it is Niajae Wallace. She is a sound healing therapist, and she's going to break down what she does, introduce herself, and I'm going to dive with a bunch of questions like I always do.
Thank you so much for having me again.
Of course.
So my name is Niajae. I am the founder of Bliss Bar Meditation Studio, and it's the first meditation studio in Tampa. And I have been doing sound therapy for a while, and I really just needed a home where I can create a really sacred space to allow people to heal, grow, expand, and reduce stress and anxiety. I feel like these days we have so much stress and anxiety. We have so much depression. We have so many people that are in a constant state of fight, flight, or freeze, actually, and they're not feeling good. They're not living their best life. And this state of fight or flight has become the norm. And people don't remember what it even feels like to be in harmony, to have your body feel good, and where your nervous system is calm and healthy and repairing itself, which is why we have so many diseases today. We have autoimmune disease and cancer is rampant. So I just wanted to create a really beautiful space where people can show up as they are and leave feeling way better.
I like that. And I'm not only impressed by what you said, but I'm also a direct reflection of the results of what you do. So I did a session with Niajae, I want to say back in December, and it really changed a lot about how I felt about myself. Um, it aligned me with things within myself that kind of freed me. It kind of broke some chains within myself, and it kind of unleashed this kind of internal beast. Like I have this beast inside of me that it's just like this really really wild character. It's cool, it's calm, but it has the potential to just wreck shit. And I was always afraid to let it out because I didn't think I could control it. And after doing my session, it was like, hey, go beast mode. I'm like, all right, fine. And I just went beast mode and like, okay, stop beast mode. Like, okay, fine. And I didn't understand that I had that ability. But when I aligned my chakras with Niajae, it was like, okay, you know what? You are in control of the energy and how it flows through your body and where it flows. And you tell it where to go. And I didn't understand that. And so I started doing more experimentation with just grounding myself. And I went on a whole journey after that. Like my journey got expanded even more after my session with her. So I definitely recommend the session. She does do them virtually, but she also has the bar in Tampa. She has a cup too. Like she has cups. Which show your
cup.
cup. Yeah, show the cup.
My teacup. It says
Yes.
find your bliss.
Yes. And that's the name. So the Bliss Bar is in Tampa. And like she said, it's the first of its kind. And again, this is not unique for you to do something that has not been done before, right? Like, it's kind of like your theme, like, oh, I'm the first to do this, I'm the first to do that.
I'm a pioneer, you got to be a thought leader these days.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I wanted to talk to you about what made you choose Tampa to create the space that you did. I know you were doing it and you were kind of in Tampa, but like Florida's so big. Did you feel there was a personal need there, like a need in that particular location, or what made you choose Tampa specifically?
So I actually lived in St. Pete for 5 years. So St. Petersburg, Florida, it's only 15 minutes from Tampa. And I received a contract with a rehab facility to do sound therapy. And so it was in Tampa. So I was commuting back and forth, which wasn't necessarily fun.
Right.
So I had a couple of opportunities pop up around that same time. And I received this download. And so for anyone who may not be familiar with the term download, it's basically following your intuition. When your intuition tells you something directly. So we have 8 clear abilities and everyone's intuition communicates differently. So when you say download, it's basically just how your intuition is communicating to you. So my intuition said to me, all roads lead to Tampa. And so
Your
I was
intuition
like,
is dope. Like your intuition got swag. Like
yeah.
intuition got bars. Like your intuition
Right.
is a rapper.
I was like, okay. I'm like, okay, I guess I'm moving to Tampa. So yeah, I had a lot of opportunities just all coming up around the same time. So I love St. Pete. Like it's a beach town. Everyone's like laid back and like super happy. But as far as business goes, like Tampa has a lot of like people moving fast. It's a very fast city. I'm from New York, so it has that New York vibe where people are just, they're on their grind basically. So my favorite person to serve is the entrepreneur who's not focusing on self-care, who's forgetting to eat and sleep and drink the proper amount of water, because I want to help people operate at their best and achieve that peak performance. But it requires self-care. So I love serving the entrepreneurs that are forgetting about their self-care, to remind them what it feels like to feel your best and to operate from that place of alignment versus on the verge of burnout. So Tampa it just fit. It just fit.
All roads led there, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of dope. So speaking of bars, right? Like, I want to jump way off topic here. Speaking of bars and swag and your intuition speaking in rhyme, you also used to do music, right?
A long time ago. I literally feel like it was another life. Like, yeah, long time ago.
That's dope. Now, if someone wanted to find said music,
Oh my
where would
goodness.
they go to find said music?
You are so putting me on the spot. So I do have a couple of music videos on YouTube. This was a long time ago. And then I shared a really personal song. So if you want to hear like my backstory, you can definitely check out my podcast, Abundance Hack. So I can send you the links and you can just put them in the show notes so people can check it out. It was a long time ago, but honestly, I feel like every phase of my life has really led me to where I am today, because if I didn't do music, I wouldn't have been drawn to sound therapy the way that I did, and I wouldn't have picked it up as fast as I did. So it literally, everything we experience in life is leading us to where we're meant to be.
Absolutely. The reason I brought that up, the music part up, is because we often don't really know how impactful one of the parts of our lives will be, right? Mm-hmm. But for me, when I saw that video, the one you're talking about, and I won't spoil anything. When I saw that video, it really hit me hard because I have 4 daughters, right? So me being a father and hearing that song and understanding how that may or may not impact somebody.
Look, you're gonna make me get emotional.
Yeah, it really made me realize the work that needs to be done and to continue to do that work. So it was powerful for me, and I know there's a lot of people who can resonate with, especially that particular song. And plus, you just got skills, so I wanted to put you on the spot, so you stop hiding stuff, stop hiding these dope parts of your life. You know what I'm saying? Your intuition still speaks in lyric.
Yeah, it does. So the song he's referring to is called Dear Daddy, and it's a whole podcast episode, and then I shared like a homemade music video at the end, and it was one of the most personal songs that I've written in my career, and it took me 10, 15 years to ever share it with anyone, because when I was doing music, and I had a song on a radio in Atlanta for a little while, so my little bit of fame in Atlanta, basically, I didn't share that song because it was a very personal song, but I've done a lot of work over the years, inner work, self-development. And I just got to a point where I'm like, I don't feel ashamed about my past. I am in full acceptance and I feel comfortable to share this. So it's one of those songs where you know what a person was feeling or what they experienced or what they went through. But I mean, here I am now helping people face their stuff that they want to hide or they feel ashamed about. And we can't run from ourselves. That's one of the things. And how you were saying that you were a little afraid to unleash that beast. Society tries to tone us down. Society tries to keep us small. And then sometimes we're afraid of our own shadows, but everything is light and dark. Everything is yin and yang. So you have to be in full acceptance of yourself. And the more you try to suppress a part of yourself, or the more you allow something inside of you to stay frozen, the more unhappiness that's going to cause. And what people are doing is they're numbing our intuition is always talking to us. And sometimes we don't want to hear it because we don't want to face it. But what happens is it keeps getting louder and louder and louder. And then people feel like they have to suppress it and suppress it and suppress it. So they're doing a lot of mind numbing activities, scrolling on social media, alcohol, wine, drugs, weed. It is numbing the intuition that's telling you, face this so you can be the best version of yourself. So yeah, we can't run from ourselves.
Can't run. You can't run because we're all. It's a rap lyric. I forgot who said it, but you can't run from yourself because everywhere you go, there you are.
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of cool. I was young when I heard it. It was like so profound, like wow. But now it's like okay, duh. But but no, I'm glad that you said that. I'm glad you took that bait and you went into that segue because that is one of the most amazing things that I feel drew me to you even more, right? Because again, we both shared they both used to do music, and we kind of put it down, kind of pursued these, entrepreneurial roles and all these things. But each part of our past has aligned itself with our present, and it's continuously setting the stage for the future. So, it's no coincidence that we both still use microphones, right? We still we still use microphones, like we still in videos, like we're still doing the stuff we did, and it created that comfort. I think that because of that, you and I are completely comfortable with having these conversations and talking on the microphones and stuff like that. So I wanted to just dive into that because again, that song is very powerful, and
Thank
I
you.
was hoping you took the bait. So thank you. So next, I want to kind of jump back into the Bliss Bar. So what with the name, right? The name. Did you have that name for a while, or was that something that just kind of came to you?
So it was something that came to me, again, my intuition, but let me just tell you something funny. This happened a couple of days ago. So I had a friend do a human design and gene keys reading for me, and my whole entire gene key was like bliss, super abundance, like all the words in my whole brand. So I'm like, my intuition is on point. But okay, so Bliss Bar. So one of my long-term goals is to have my own line of tea. So when the bar part is because I want a tea bar. I want a place where you can come, have tea, journal, do some work, network with people. Like that is my like long-term goal, to have a tea bar. So that's where the bar comes in. And then the bliss part, bliss is our natural state, but we're so far detached from it. What I want to happen is when you come in here, you feel a sense of calm, you feel a sense of peace, you feel a sense of harmony. So bringing you back to that place. And I have mindfulness happy hours. So, when people get off work, they want to go to happy hour to unwind after a long day at work. So I have mindfulness happy hours where they can come and have a cup of tea and receive a sound healing after work. So it's a holistic way to unwind after work.
All right. I hope you picked up on all my facial expressions during that whole little thing right there. If you're listening on an audio, you didn't pick up on it. So I'm going to tell you, my face was twisted every time she said something, because I'm one of those people that's like, hey, let's meet for coffee, but I don't drink coffee. And I always told myself, I want to create a tea shop instead of a coffee shop. And I want to have lots of different types of teas. And I want to be able to say, hey, let's meet for tea versus coffee. Let's meet for tea. And I was like, oh, I should call it the tea spot. And I'm like, okay, because whatever. But here you are telling all these things. And now it's so funny because my discovery call is called the happy hour call. So you're just really rattling off all these.
Okay, so I will also tell you, I went into this with the idea of franchising. So let me find out, we need a Bliss Bar meditation studio in New York.
We might have to have an offline conversation about this, because it sounds like, that's honestly something that I wanted to do. One of the biggest things that helped me grow as an entrepreneur are coffee shops. Being able to go sit down at a place that didn't have any expectations and just kind of had an open forum, and you could do whatever you need to do. That was something that was big for me, because I needed that lack of structure to create my structure. So I always wanted to create a space for creatives, entrepreneurs specifically, to go drink tea, have meetings. And I won't say the name of it. I kind of have the whole thing written out already. But it's something that I really, really, really still have in my timeline, my trajectory to do, is to create this space, because I feel like there's such a lack of positioning for entrepreneurs, but the world is shifting to entrepreneur run society.
Yeah.
But where do we go to commune? Right? Like our offices. I want to go to my office. I want to go to an office. I want to go somewhere cool where we all meet. And then at night it turns into a different setting, and it's kind of a really cool, also chill kind of space. So that's what I'm gonna be building, right?
Make
So
it happen.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
franchise that down to you. You franchise up to me. We just make money both ways. So the alignment, right?
Yeah.
So,
And
but yes,
I know there's a lot of coffee drinkers and there's absolutely nothing wrong with coffee, but for me, tea is high in antioxidants and it also keeps your body alkaline. So disease grows in a acidic body. So when you're drinking tea, as opposed to, because you can get caffeine from tea as well,
right.
and then you have your non-caffeinated teas, but the thing that I love about it is the health benefits. So a lot of different teas have a ton of health benefits, antioxidants, and keeping your body alkaline. And if you drink tea daily, it is going to help your overall well-being. So coffee just gives you energy, but if you can get well-being and energy from tea, I mean, I feel like that's the way to go personally. So I'm a huge advocate for drinking a cup of tea daily.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and no diss and no shots fired to coffee drinkers from me.
No,
either.
no.
I love you too. You know, if you drink coffee. I just personally, I used to drink coffee a lot when I was in corporate America, and it made me feel like I was in corporate America. It made me always feel like I'm going. It made me like the coffee kind of almost led my day instead of me controlling my day. And I'm like, this feels weird. Like I don't even need the coffee. I'm just addicted to it now. I'm just going to get coffee because I'm supposed to, or I'm going to get coffee with my coworkers on break. I don't want it. Like it sits on my desk. I take a couple sips. I feel wired, and then I feel weird.
Yeah.
So,
and we're conditioned to feel like we need a cup of coffee before we wake up. Don't talk to me until I've had my coffee. Like media literally sends that message and we store it in our subconscious. But like I love that you said like coffee was controlling your day rather than you controlling your day. And that's a powerful thing for people to realize. If you feel like I can't talk until I've had my coffee, you're dependent upon a thing that's outside of you.
Right. Yeah, I mean, since kids we've been programmed with coffee, right? That's part of waking up. Is sodas in your cup. As we're singing this jingle as kids, we can't even drink coffee yet. Like,
you're right.
And I'm dating myself, so you know, if you're not old
no,
enough to know
I
that
mean
commercial,
that like I feel like everyone that was like good advertising right there, because who like we feel like coffee just makes us feel comforting. Like the Folgers, like it just was such a comforting, like that was good marketing right there.
Yes. Now we need to call them.
Right. Who ran that ad campaign? Yeah.
Me, right?
Who created that jingle? I need to know.
Right. But no, so I mean, I'm glad that you shed light on that as well. And there's so many types of teas. I think that you could probably drink a different type of tea for a full year and not drink all the teas that are in the world. So, definitely if you drink coffee, test out some caffeinated teas and see how you feel. They really don't. A lot of them don't have that. I won't say all of them, but a lot of the caffeinated teas don't give you that crash afterwards.
Yeah.
And you don't necessarily need another cup to keep going through the day.
Yeah.
So now we're gonna have 2 super dope tea spots where you do your business. You can come visit Tampa or New York, whatever, whatever. So now the next thing I want to talk to you about, and this is something that's very, very cool, is your podcast, The Abundance Hack, right? How long have you been doing this podcast?
Ooh, going on 2.5 years now. 2.5 years. Yeah.
Wow. That is
dope. And I love my podcast so much. It literally is like my diary.
I can tell.
It's my diary.
She has a dope name for all the listeners. What's the name of your listeners?
M&Ms.
M&Ms.
So I say, like, if you're joining me for the first time, although M&Ms are really yummy candies, it actually stands for magical manifestors, because we are manifesting by default. So every thought, every feeling, every emotion, everything we say, it's creating our reality. So if you're listening to this podcast, that means that you want to manifest abundance.
Yeah. And you say that every episode. It's like, this is dope. When I listen, and it's crazy because your podcast is such a vast podcast when it comes to topics and different type of content. So more recently, I've noticed that you've kind of been in a series of like relationship and masculinity, femininity, and it's kind of like a zone that you're in right now.
Yes.
So I want to know. I have a question for you, if you don't mind me asking.
No, I'm
an open book. You don't have to get
book.
too personal if you don't want.
I'm an open book.
Okay, what triggered that conversation to spark so many episodes in your show?
Yeah. So just to kind of just put it out there, because like I said, I am an open book. Usually I do a solo episode, an interview, a solo episode, an interview. And I in my personal life was going through a what I call conscious uncoupling. So conscious uncoupling is actually a book. It's a 5-step process. I didn't read the whole book, but I started the process, and basically the author of the book says breaking up doesn't have to be a bad thing. It doesn't have to be ugly, like F you, you know, and like you go your own separate ways and then you're picking up all these broken pieces. It's supporting each other through the separation, because it doesn't have to be a bad thing in a sense of like, you know, someone cheated. Like there was no cheating, there was no lying, there was like none of that. It just was two conscious individuals deciding that we're not right for each other. So how can we support each other in the next phase of our life? So through this process, I really dove deep into the divine masculine and the divine feminine, figuring out why wasn't this relationship serving me? Because, you know, he was a great person. He was an honest person. Like there was nothing bad that happened. So a lot of people paint breaking up as like this like vicious thing, but like when you know what you want and you decide like, okay, this is not what I want, being able to walk away from that and be okay. So it sent me in a direction of like, okay, let me really fine tune what it is that I want, so the next relationship can be more of what I want. And so I went into this whole like divine masculine and divine feminine, and I had a relationship coach, Danielle Laura, on, and I had this epiphany that I shared on that episode. And then it just took me down this like rabbit hole of conscious relationships, divine unions, and what it means to be in your divine feminine. And as a Black woman, we're actually taught the opposite. We're not taught to be feminine. We're taught to be independent and strong and never depend on a man, never like never submit. And that's a whole nother topic. Never submit to a man and always have your own, always be independent. And so we're not taught to trust. We're not taught for divine unions. We're not programmed to be in a true partnership where we trust that the person has our back. We're taught the complete opposite, which is working against us when we want that divine love. So I just went down this whole rabbit hole. I have one more episode coming up with the whole relationship series, and then I'll get back to my interviews. I was like, should I just do my interview? But I'm like, no, I'm on a roll. Like we're going to keep on with this topic, because I'm like, it's my show. I can do what I want.
Right. That's the beauty of it. When we're like, you know what? Oh man, I gotta do. No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. Who's gonna tell you have to do it?
I mean, honestly, I've received some of the most feedback with these episodes. So people are like, man, you really articulated what I've been feeling. You really hit home with this one. So when you just allow yourself, like, we don't have to put ourselves in a box. When you allow yourself to just be and channel that message that you're meant to share with the world, there's no rules on it.
Right. Absolutely. And I think that that's where the most growth comes for, I think as coaches, healers, any kind of person that services the mind, body, or spirit, we grow every time somebody else grows. We grow every time there's a revelation for somebody else. And that's something that it's really like a currency for us, right? Like anytime someone gets a revelation, you're like, hey, oh, wow. And we get it with them. Like we go through that with them. It's almost like you're holding somebody's hand through a tunnel and you both come out the tunnel together with something different. So it's really amazing to hear these things coming from you and this perspective coming from you, and you diving down so deeply into it, 67 episodes later of solo talk. 67 episodes later. But honestly, I think that these episodes are very personal to you. And I think that talking through them sometimes allows you to get the answers that you need. We were talking and you were sharing something with me about an epiphany that you had. And it kind of opened up a whole new realm of thinking. And I'm so excited for you to put that one out, because it really is, it's powerful. And it's not just for feminine energy or women listeners. It's for male listeners as well. You can get a lot of insight from the show, because you get a perspective of what someone is trying to convey to you, and they don't understand that you don't get it, right? And then you can say, that's what she's trying to say, or that's what she's trying to tell me here. This is where I may have messed up, or So I think that is power in understanding and the balance of that H word that you called it, right?
We can, okay, so I already purchased the domain. The trademark is already in the works. So it's actually called Hybrid Lovers. So my podcast, I won't tell you too much because I want you to check out the podcast. Don't. But one of the things that I realize is that a lot of the systems and programming is outdated. We are in a world that's moving fast, and people are doing things that they never thought would be possible. Technology is advancing rapidly. So the typical model of a relationship has shifted. It's shifted. So we can't expect to be the same and have the same results that our great grandparents had back in the day. So what I am creating is a framework for a hybrid lover, and you'll have to listen to the podcast episode to understand what that means, but it's really just adapting a paradigm that serves you now, not what worked 100 years ago, not what worked 1,000 years ago, but what works now, because now women are more empowered than ever. And they also have to be in their divine feminine. So how can we blend the two? The new age woman that can start a business and build an empire and still be soft and feminine and sensual with her man. And then the new age man that is now conscious. So back in the day, it's like, be a man, suck it up. And like now we're conscious, like a man has emotions, and telling him to suppress his emotions, and it's not okay to have emotions as a man. You just have to suck it up and like keep moving. That time is over. Right. That time is over. We know now that suppressing your emotions turns into physical ailments, because trapped emotions turns into physical ailments turn into disease. So we have a more conscious world now. So that man embodying what a divine masculine looks like, and being fully conscious and aware of his emotions and his feminine energy, because every individual has masculine and feminine. So hybrid is just combining the two. So being in your divine masculine as a man, and still being able to nurture. So nurturing is a feminine aspect. So being able to nurture your relationship, and for the woman being in her divine feminine and still being able to take action and build an empire. So what that looks like when you combine the two and really getting to that power couple status that so many people desire. So I am literally breaking down what's wrong with the old models and like how to adapt. Look, I'm already fired up. You could tell, like,
you see how calm I am, right? I'm just like, right, yeah. I'm with it. Because this is big. This is a big deal.
This is why I had to do so many episodes back to back, because this topic really fires me up, because we were taught the complete opposite of what we desire. So breaking all of that down, releasing the old programming and adapting what we really need, and healing. Like we need to heal around it, like it took me so long to get to the point to be able to admit certain things to myself, because when I admit that, like, honestly, I wouldn't mind not having to work. I wouldn't mind my husband taking care of me. I literally felt less than a woman because I was raised to never depend on a man. So it took me a while to even be able to admit that to myself, because so much of our programming tells us not to trust men and not to depend on a man. But I'm like, I mean, if I can't depend on him, then why am I with him? Like, right. So like so much of it, and it's through the sound healing that I was actually able to peel the layers back. Some people are not going to be ready to hear it. Some people are going to be like, oh, nope. Right. But it just shows, where people are. But if you're really ready to release the limiting beliefs, release the programming, release the blocks, and heal and grow and expand, that is how you tap into that true fulfillment and bliss.
Absolutely. And I think it's an interesting, because this is not to say that those other types of relationships don't work, because there are people who are just looking for that specific type of relationship because they were raised with that paradigm and that mindset. And they may come from a down line or up line of people who just had that still going on in their family and their culture. So that may be their thing. But for most people, there's a very big issue around what to do in relationships. And I think that what you're going to reveal in this podcast is very helpful to a lot of people, because a lot of men, just being very clear and transparent, as a man, a lot of men don't have positive male role models. There's a lot of men who don't. Now, there are also a lot who do, but as a big group of men who didn't have positive male role models. When I say positive, I don't mean just present. I mean positive and encouraging and uplifting and guiding and bringing into play positive masculine, healthy masculine tendencies to this person's life. That's what I mean by a positive male role model, not just the OG in your neighborhood. That's not, and so a lot of people think that they learned the game from the OG in the neighborhood, but this person's toxic. This person can only show you from their vantage point and from as high as they've reached in life. This person typically isn't the guy who has the healthy relationship that you want to look up to. So it's very important that we go inside, right? We go inside and we find what we need and what feels like peace to us and bring that forward. So I can't wait to hear that episode when you release it. So I wanted to make sure I jumped into that, because when you sent that to me, I'm like, yo, and I wanted to kind of put you on the spot today, but like, don't do it, E. Don't do it.
It is all good. And I want to speak to a couple of things that you said. So, some people may just be looking for, that old paradigm type of relationship, but I invite people to really, really, really check in. So I have a podcast episode talking about honoring your desires. And when I have clients come in, or if I do a virtual session, I always ask them what they want, but I'm like five. I asked them 3 times.
I wasn't going to say anything. I'm going to let that go.
Well, I realized I was doing this and I was like, okay, they may think that I can't count. So let me be very specific.
Right.
So I asked them 3 times, what is it that you want? What is it that you desire? Because we're programmed to deny or suppress or dismiss our desires. So not what your parents say you should want, not what society says you should want, and not even what you think you deserve, because sometimes we don't even believe that deep, fulfilling relationship is even possible for us. Right. So how many people have given up on love? They're like, there's a lot of women that are just like, I'll just be single and that's it. And there's a lot of men that just accept whatever will just be like a fill-in, but they're not creating that deep connection. We are built for connection. We are built for that. So when we don't have it, there is an emptiness, and I am all about fulfillment and abundance. So you can convince yourself that you're okay and I don't need this. And I talk about this in my podcast episode. Which episode was it where I talk about the zebra in the water hole?
The second last one.
Hold on. I want to tell them the name just so, is programming preventing your fulfillment? So that's episode number 145. So I talk about the zebra in a water hole on how we convince ourselves we don't need something that we're not actually receiving. And the same way that you said that there's not positive role models for men, it's the same with women. My mom was married 3 times, none of them to my father. My grandmother, when she passed, she was single. My great grandmother, when she passed, she was single. So I didn't have a role model of like what a healthy, passionate, thriving relationship looked like. So it's not our fault, but it is our responsibility to figure out what we need, honor that, and go get it. So it's going to take some healing. It's going to take some releasing outdated belief systems, but that's the work. That is the work, and it is worth it. When you do find someone that is madly in love with each other, and so many people are convinced that it's not even possible, but it is possible. We don't see it because we only see what validates our beliefs. So starting at the root of it and shifting the beliefs, knowing that it's possible, knowing you can have a passionate, thriving, like, power couple, it is possible. So really feeling into what contradicts that belief inside and doing the work.
That's this. You just said something that really, it's gonna. I don't know. It blew my mind when I processed it. What you said, and I took it to another level in my mind. That's what I do. I'm weird like that. When you said that, that's what they see because that's what they're associating with. Think about a search, right? When you look up something on online and you go on Facebook, every ad is about what you searched for most recently. If you buy, I bought a pair of glasses recently. I've been seeing ads for glasses every single day. So if you search for something psychologically that's negative, everywhere you go, you're going to see more ads in real life of negative things. So if you're looking for things in this negative paradigm, you're going to see more things that support that paradigm. And it's almost going to make you believe that that's the only way. That is how our brain works, which is every search engine was based off of our brain, right? The search engines are really based off of how we think. Like, hey, when you search for a thought, how do you do it? Okay, let's make that happen on a computer. Our brains are the original computer. So when you see ads on every page you go to that represents a thought you had, it's the same way. When you think a bad thought, you wake up in the rising, you get up and you have that thing. You always say you stub your toe when you get out of bed. I've never done that. I don't know if it's possible, but whatever. But if you wake up with a bad vibe or you read a bad text message first thing in the rising, and then that triggers your day. Now you've told your brain, search for all the bad things that could happen today and bring them to the forefront of my life. So, like you said, those people who are feeling that way are searching for more validation of what they believe, because without that validation, something's off, right? So it's very important that we understand the programming and the potential to do things that help you reprogram, like sound healing at Bliss Bar, and really going deep into understanding you brought this thought to yourself. You brought this moment to yourself. You brought this energy to yourself. It's not just, it just happened to show up. Oh my goodness, how is this thing showing up? Why do I keep seeing this thing? It's because you asked for it. Subconsciously, you thought a thought and you didn't control the thought. You didn't tame the thought. And now the thought is running wild in your brain, running for friends, looking for friends. Hey, you want to hang out with me? Cool. You're a negative thought. Let's hang out together. Let's have a big party in Emery's brain.
Yeah.
And that's how it works. So it's not that what you think is such, it's magnified in society. And I talk about this in the book I just started writing too, big shameless plug. I started writing a book because I really want to talk about my own personal story. It's very intricate, very specific, and very detailed. But I talk about it a lot in there, how what we feel runs rampant in our mind. You know what I'm saying? And we allow it to really, really grow. So I just wanted to tangent off of that. You said something that just triggered that for me. And then you said something else as well. It's like bottled up emotions. And it made me picture like a person standing at a doorway, leaning against the door, right? And the door is like pushing, you know how that cliche scene where they got the door is like moving really, really hard. But there's like thousands of bulls behind this door. And this little tiny person's trying to hold back that door. And that's what it's like when, like you said, when men are supposed to suppress their emotions. Eventually, those bulls are going to get out. You're not going to be stronger than those bulls. You're never stronger than your emotions. That's why you got to control your emotions and tame your emotions before they team up on you and jump you. And you on the floor crying, you don't know who beat you up. So that's really what we have to do. But that's what it's like. You're really trying to hold back bulls, right? They're going to run. That's what they are supposed to do. Emotions are supposed to be freely flowing through your body. It's just which emotions you allow to flow through your body. So yeah, I just wanted to touch base on those two things, because those things hit me, and I was writing on my desk, and I do that a lot. I just write on my desk because I'm that guy, right?
With a Sharpie? Was that a Sharpie?
With a Sharpie.
Oh.
With a no, don't fret. Now it is a desk you can write on.
Okay, so like a whiteboard.
It's a whiteboard desk, yes. But
With a
this is
Sharpie
permanent
though?
marker. Okay, don't judge me. I have the ones that are erasable as well. But when I have a thought that I don't want smeared by my arm or my keyboard, I write it in permanent and then I clean it off later.
Okay.
I clean it off later. But when I wanted to stay and I wanted to stick, I use permanent on purpose
Well,
because
I am glad I gave you something that you want to stay and stick.
yes, you did because that really hit me because I know that a lot of the men that I know that have been through whether it's physical abuse, physical ailments, have been physically abusive or emotionally abusive, have been the guys who don't say what they feel, holding the emotions. You don't get to control when that door opens and those bulls run past you and they trample everything in the way. It doesn't matter where you could be in church, you could be at in Bible study, you could be at a coffee shop, you could be at your mom's house. It doesn't matter. When that emotion comes out, it's going to come out.
Yeah.
If you haven't dealt with it, it doesn't matter where you are. Someone's going to catch all of those bulls and they're going to get that. And that's not fair. That's not fair. And because you didn't do the work, because you didn't want to, face yourself and deal with those emotions, now someone else has to deal with that. So a lot of times it comes off as physical abuse, emotional abuse. And we have such a high rate of, domestic violence because people don't deal with their own crap. And it's not just men. I'm just speaking because I'm a man, but there's men who get abused by women. And because people aren't dealing with their stuff, we call this, toxic love and all this. No, it's you not dealing with your stuff. And you thinking that by getting with somebody else, it's going to help you with your stuff. And it doesn't. All it does is gives you a bigger closet to put it in.
Yeah. And oh man, so much I want to say about all of that. And you said toxic love, and like, I'm like, who wants that? Like, if you had to choose between toxic love and passionate love, but like the good passion, like fulfilling love and unconditional love, which would you choose? And nobody's going to say the toxic love. And the problem is, sometimes we don't think we can have anything other than that. And that's why listening to podcasts like this helps you expand your mind to like, I don't have to deal with this and I don't have to be this, So that's really powerful to let sink in. And another thing I want to mention, because I know sound therapy and meditation is very like still. And so if you have someone that has anger or rage, maybe sound therapy isn't exactly what you need. Need in that moment. I personally believe in intuitive self-care. So learning how to check in and ask yourself, ask your body, what do I need today? So if someone's experiencing rage, they don't need to try to sit still and listen to sound therapy. They need to move their body. So workout, run, something of the sort. And if you have more like emotion, like a more gentle emotion that you want to work through, then sound therapy is good. So getting in the habit of checking into what do I need right now? But if you bottle things up, one, it is going to explode. And two, it can turn into a physical ailment or disease. Like trap emotions turns into disease. So if you want to live a healthy life, then you have to deal with your stuff, and how you deal with it depends on what you're feeling. So getting in the habit of even observing what you're feeling and then asking yourself, like, what do I need? And honoring whatever comes up. Sometimes I need to do yoga. Sometimes I need to meditate. Sometimes I need to just sit with my bowls and hear the vibration. Sometimes I need to move. I need to run, like really honoring what you need and not feeling like it has to look a certain way. Absolutely. So self-care is going to look different every single day. That day that you wake up and you stub your toe, even though Emery's never stubbed his toe, if you stub your toe.
Have you ever done that? Getting out of bed?
Like a nightstand, if you have a nightstand and you get out of bed or and stub your toe on the nightstand, it's possible.
But have you ever done it?
I feel like I have on like maybe my bed frame. But a long time ago. But usually I wake up and I'm usually feeling good. I'm usually feeling amazing. And then it's something like if I get on my phone too soon, that's what usually.
Yeah, that's what gets me. That's what gets me. Because it's always early in the day, people got so much, they wake up, right? And they have this, so, oh my goodness, they have these bad emotions about their days. So the first thing they do is project.
Yeah.
And they're like, you know what? My day is horrible. What can I send to Emery to mess up his too? Oh, yeah. And I'm like, no.
Yeah, so now I do not get on my phone until I'm grounded in my energy. So you wake up, when you wake up, you're at your baseline. Like that's your natural energy.
Yeah.
And then the second that you get on your phone or scroll social media, that's impacting your energy. So I make sure that I ground in and protect my energy before I expose myself to the world. So now whatever I read, I'm fine because I'm grounded in how I feel.
Right. It's
Yeah.
like, like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I've started a system where when I rise up every day, I pray, I meditate. I'm not 100%, like 98.723%. And I pray first, and then I meditate, I write. And I'm not specifically forcing myself to be journaling. Sometimes I write down an idea. Sometimes I write down a thought. Sometimes I write down my dream. I just write. I write. I got my iPad with the pen, so it's cool for me because my handwriting sucks on paper, but it's really nice on the iPad. So I write, and what that does for me is it allows me to really get into myself. And I make sure I get up super early because I don't want any distractions. I don't want anything else up before me. Because if you're up before me, if anything else is up before me, if there's outside influences before I get to influence myself, you control my day until I stop and recalibrate. But I want to make sure that so I get up, do that, and then I go for either a jog or run, and I try to do like at least between 3 to 6 miles every day. And that is the time where I really get into my zone, and then I start my day. And it's like, when I started doing that, I realized so much of the power that we have, we give away. Because now, as I'm starting my days that way, I've retained so much of that power. So now as things come to me, it's almost like an algorithm. They instantly go where they're supposed to go because I've started my day retaining so much of that energy. And it's such a magical experience for me. Like, I'm still in awe of how dope it is. And what's crazy about the 3 to 6 miles is that as I do it, I want to go more. So like now I'm like, my average is 6, and I'm like, this isn't enough. Got to go more. So I did 8 like a couple of days. I'm like, did you do 8 miles in the morning? Like, they just keep doing, like, stop. But it's the energy of it for me. Like, I typically have on like an audio book, or I'll really just be in my thoughts. I'll be on my phone writing down ideas, and I'll just be going. And I think that that's what allows me to do it, is because I'm really taking in as I'm putting out at the same time. So I don't know if that made sense to anybody else, but that's my morning. That's my routine in the rising. So get yourself a routine. Don't let anything break your routine. I said all that to say, don't let anything break your routine. If you have a routine that you set up for yourself, get that routine. That way, nothing has power over the most important part of your day. When you rise, you're still in beta. You're in theta waves. You're still out of dream state, right? So you're in that initial phase of being directly connected to the universal intelligence, to God's energy. You're right there. You're connected to all of that in that moment when you first rise. So when you do that and you jump in and start engaging in other people's stuff, you just break that connection. It's like, it's like letting your tea get cold. Like, yo, drink the tea. It's hot for you. Like, why would you let your tea get cold? So I just wanted to share that. Complete tangent. But yes, that's where I'm at with it. But I definitely think that, that's how I stop stubbing my toe in the morning and rising. So yeah, that's that. Back to you now. More questions. So I got some serious questions that I'm going to get into, because I have to always ask these 3 questions. So this question is going to be a little bit different because I asked you before. What is something that you've done in your life, even though you're a manifester, something in your life that you've done that wowed you, that you almost didn't believe you could make possible?
Oh, that's good. Man, I'm really shocked often, like, even though like I'm a great manifester, how things come about for me when I commit. So I say on social media all the time, like once you commit, the universe delivers. So with my meditation studio, I was operating my sound therapy business out of a yoga studio, and they were going through a rebrand that I really didn't want to impact my business. So I'm like, I think it's time for me to open up my own spot. And I literally, from the time of me committing to being open was a month. Like I was like, all right, universe, send me the perfect location. Found something almost too good to be true because it was 5 minutes from my house in a price range that was really affordable. And I was just like, is this for real? Is this for real? And I accepted that day. I asked if I could move in. It was for like, it was probably the middle of the month. I asked if I could move in immediately, even though like the official lease started that the next month, the first of the next month. And they said, yeah, I moved in, I got everything hooked up, and I was open and ready to go in a month span. And so sometimes, and the branding, the website, like everything, like the logo, just everything fell into place so beautifully. So sometimes I just realize, like, when we commit and fully commit, so not letting the doubt and the fear and all of the things stand in our way, when we commit, the universe delivers, like,
Yes.
period. The universe
Yes.
delivers. So yeah, sometimes, I pull off things that the average person wouldn't be able to do in 6 months. I do it in a month, you know? So yeah, I make it happen. So I'm always in awe of, and it's not just me. I feel like it's with the support of the universe and trusting. I had to release the resistance to trust that the perfect location is going to come in. When I said, send me the perfect location, I had to trust that it was going to happen. And it happened so fast and easy. I was like, damn.
Right. Right. Sometimes it's like that though. It's like, and honestly, it's almost as if what was for you has been for you, and it's been
Mhm.
waiting for you to realize that you need to commit. Like,
Exactly.
it's like, dude, come on, what are you doing? Like, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm right here. I'm
Yep.
right here. You moved down the street from me. I'm right
Yeah.
here. Like,
Yeah.
so, and I think that that's so
Totally.
dope.
Totally. It's already in our vortex. I have another podcast episode about like what is the vortex. So if you don't know, definitely go check out that podcast episode. But I talk about, it's already in the vortex. We just have to raise our vibration to be a match, but it's
Right.
already there. And that's the part of, like, once you commit, the universe delivers. The place was already meant for me. I
Mhm.
just had to believe that it was possible. I had to trust myself to go out on my own. I had to just be that vibrational match and say, I'm going to do this. And then everything was there.
Right.
So if you, just to circle back to what we were saying about how we only see what validates our beliefs. So if you believe, I can't start a business, I can't find uh
Keep going.
I can't find, a partner that's going to be this, this, and this. If you believe that, you're only going to see what validates your belief. So it's important that you shift your beliefs and so here's the thing. I don't believe in just saying like affirmations, like I'm going to be a millionaire, and like you can't lie to yourself. Your body cannot lie to yourself. So if you say something that subconsciously you don't believe, is going to create discord. So not trying to go from making 100,000 to a million like this, so I'm not about like affirmationing your way to manifestation. I'm about getting into the root of the belief. So the
Right.
subconscious belief. And that's the beauty of sound therapy. It takes you into your subconscious mind. So you may feel that in our beliefs, just because I mentioned money, our beliefs around money, sometimes, like if you have a subconscious belief that money is the root to all evil, or money causes pain. If you grew up with parents that fought about money, you may think money causes pain. So in the
Right.
back of your mind, your subconscious mind, you're actually preventing yourself from making the money because you think the money is going to cause pain or marital problems, et cetera, et cetera. So
Right.
we only see what we believe in our subconscious. And
Absolutely.
our brains love to be right. So literally, like if you feel like your keys are lost, your keys are lost. They could be sitting right in front of your face, but you're like, I can't find my keys. And your brain loves to be right. So you don't see them until
Right.
you calm down and shift your belief of like, okay, they have to be right here. And then you find them and they were right in front of your face. So literally our brains, like we are dynamic beings and our brains are so incredibly powerful. So if you can shift your beliefs and expand your beliefs, your world is going to expand.
Right.
So I that is what I'm all about, expanding and putting yourself around other expanders. If you're around people that are doing the same thing over and over and they're not pushing themselves to their limits, you're not going to see that there's this big, beautiful world out here of massive opportunity, massive opportunity. But if you start surrounding yourself with people that are traveling the world and starting businesses and making more money than they ever thought was possible, you'll be like, oh shit, this is
Right.
possible for me too. If you
Right.
start surrounding yourself with couples that are in really happy, passionate relationships, I found myself in a space where like all of, no offense to any of my friends, but like I had a few friends that were just like, my husband, like, he wants to have sex with me today. I'm like, if I get married, I want to be like, girl, I gotta get home. My man is waiting for me. So like that's the energy. Like when you surround yourself with people that have something like expanders, if you surround yourself with people that help you expand your mind of what's possible,
Right.
it is going to expand your world. And the world is already big, but we only see this much
Right.
because of our limiting beliefs, because of our subconscious blocks. So I know I just went on a tangent,
Oh
but
no, it's cool. I listen. I have a bell that I would ring if you go too far. I didn't ring the bell to make
oh, I
sure.
didn't even know. Okay,
It's not a real bell. I'm just playing. But no, but I mean that was important. That was very important. And I think that it's another segue. This might have to be a two-part episode, but
okay.
no, seriously, because you just tapped into something that's really, really important. A lot of people don't understand that the brain the part of our brain that we use in the forefront is very limited, right? It's like how much stuff you can fit on the main screen of your computer. You can typically only do one or two things at a time on your computer screen. There's so much other stuff your computer's doing in the background though. And so we're really only focusing on one, maybe two things. And if you're focusing on two, you're probably not focusing well, but you're focusing on one thing typically. Everything else that's happening in the background is still going and going and going and feeding that one thing based on what you type into that main screen. Our conscious mind is very limited in what it can do, because if it wasn't, we'd be crazy. Our subconscious mind stores the programming, it stores the coding, it stores the algorithms. And as soon as you say a word, your subconscious mind delivers what that word represents to you. And then it goes to your mouth. So as soon as you say hot dog, you instantly think blah, 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 boom, boom, hot dog, boom. You start talking about whatever you associated with that. Our subconscious mind takes in the whole world, it processes the whole world, it creates a carbon copy of what that means to us, and we access it when it's needed and when it's necessary. If you have a bunch of crap in your subconscious mind, you're only accessing crap, regardless of what you want to do, regardless of what you want to be or what you want to create. There's only crap in your subconscious mind. So you could say, like Niajae said, $1 million mindset in that moment, but you don't have $1 million subconscious mindset. So you can't access it. You're not wealthy in your subconscious. And I had to learn that the hard way. I had to learn that because I'm like, yeah, I want to get it. I want to get it. Repeating affirmations, but I wasn't believing in what I was, what I was saying, because my subconscious was completely broke. My subconscious was checking his bank account like, dude, like, why do you even have a bank account right now? And so I had to change the way my subconscious mind treated money. And it wasn't until my coach Kelly Kristen, was like, Emery, you have all these things you want to do in the world. And I used to think that, like you said, filthy rich, like money, money is bad. Da, da, da. Our parents make us think money is bad because they didn't have the money to give to us. So they would make us feel bad for wanting things. And now it's like, well, you don't want things because that's what rich, filthy people do. It's not true, but it was a way to shut us up. not knowing you're programming us to believe that money's bad. And now people with money are bad to us, and we don't want money. So I would always feel that way about money. And then it was like, yo, wait a minute. Kelly was like, Emery, all the stuff you just explained to me that you want to do, you want to change the world, you want to help people in all these countries, all these places, all this stuff, that's not free. How are you going to do that with no money? Mm-hmm. And she instantly shifted my mindset about money, and it kind of changed exactly what I believed about my understanding. And we did an activity or an experience with where I was kind of able to reprogram that. But from that point on, it was like I started slowly but surely elevating my subconscious association with wealth and money. And now my conscious mind, when I talk about money, it doesn't even flinch. It believes that it's possible. So now my affirmations are able to be true because I changed my association with what wealth and money meant. So it's a journey. It's not something you're going to master in a day, but it definitely changed the way that I started to think about it. And the progress of my life has been amazing. So I just wanted to share that because you did tap into something that is so incredible about the subconscious mind. But people often don't realize your subconscious mind is your library. But you're not reading all those books at one time, but you're going to, that's in this book over here. And your subconscious mind brings you that book. So that's how that works for people.
Yeah. And they're stored in our chakras too. Like a lot of the coaching that I do, I go through chakra by chakra and like, let's see what's stored in this chakra. Let's see why there's a block. And so like finances is all your root chakra, like getting your basic needs met. So where do you have a block in the chakra that's preventing you from feeling stable, whether it's financially stable at home, stable, just taking up space in life. So yeah, it's our programming, and that's the work. That's why you do inner work to release the programming that isn't serving you and adapt a paradigm and a perspective that is serving you.
Right. Awesome. So my next question is a little more light and fun.
Okay.
What song gets you going on the days when you need inspiration or motivation? What song gets you ramped up?
Oh my goodness. So right now, Kelly Clarkson, Broken and Beautiful. I actually was jamming to that on a way to the studio today. So the lyrics are really powerful. You got to hear it. And she basically says like, I don't need you to tell me who to be. Like I'm going to be me, and I want you to love me for like who I am. And so I know that I do believe that we're not broken, we're healing. But well, I guess I'm a glass half full type of person. So a lot of people feel like we're all broken. I just like to take the other ends of that and say we're all healing.
Right.
But she says, I'm broken and it's beautiful. So basically saying like, we're all out here trying to be the best version of ourselves. So just because you have trauma or you have negative pre-programming or you have anger or you have frustration, you are still beautiful. You are still an abundant, miraculous being. And so that's why I love that song so much. Like, I'm broken and it's beautiful because we all are out here doing our very best, and we all are worthy of love and abundance, no matter what programming or subconscious block we have. So don't think I have to heal and then I'll be worthy of a great relationship. I have to heal and then I'll be worthy of $1 million. Like, no, you are worthy now. And healing is just part of our journey. We're always going to be healing and working through something. So just really owning, like, I am a miraculous being. It's already in your vortex. Like, you are already worthy of it. It's just you owning it. Right. So that's the song that gets me going.
I have to check that one out. And then the last question I have for you, and this is more of a place for you to really kind of share and shine the light on the Bliss Bar and the things that you do. How can people book sessions? What kind of sessions do you have? Give a little bit of background of what that looks like and how people can get engaged and involved.
Okay. So if you are not in Florida or not willing to travel to Florida, I do virtual chakra balancing sessions. So you can book that on my website, niajae.com. So I think actually it's on the Bliss Bar. It's on the Bliss Bar website to be able to book, but you can get to everything from niajae.com. So niajae.com will take you to my podcast. It'll take you to Bliss Bar. It'll take you to everything. So it's kind of just like the hub. So virtual sessions. that is going to help you tap into where your blocks are, where you have trauma or negative pre-programming stored in your body, in your chakras. And then if you are in Florida or willing to travel to Florida, because hello, the beach, like it's an amazing place to travel to. I do VIP days. If you want to travel into town just to work with me for a full day, I'll block out a full day just for you. Amazing. Or if you live in Florida, you can go to blissbartampa.com and see the different services. So I do sound baths, I do mindfulness happy hours, I do different classes. We're actually doing some sound healing teacher trainings here. So if you have interest in being a sound healer, you can also reach out to me about that. So yeah, this is just a beautiful place to heal. I want it to feel accepting. So no matter what you have going on, and maybe you're like, you know what, life is great, I don't need to heal, and you just want to come and relax. It's like deep relaxation and just, yeah, relax. We need to relax. We're in a time and space where we're inundated with so much information, and we're so, I almost want to say, high strung. So bringing your body back down to its baseline energy and its baseline resonance, because we need our nervous system, that parasympathetic nervous system. Like we have to go back to that rest and digestion state so our bodies can heal. And then when you've gotten a good night's rest, like after sound therapy, you always get like an amazing sleep. Like you feel 1,000 times better the next day. So it's really just about finding your bliss, feeling good, and optimizing your energy. So we're used to running on 40%. And then when you're like, holy shit, I'm running at 60% and this feels amazing. Then you come back and you're running at 80% and then 100%, you show up better in life, in all the areas of life.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can go to
don't do a sound therapy session if you have stuff to do the next day. I can tell you personally, I went to sleep and I feel like I missed the whole day. Like
no,
it was no, I'm saying after I'm telling you,
your
it was
body
at least
probably
like
needed
6
that
hours.
rest though. Your body needed that rest. Like we are so sleep deprived in today's society. Like it's insane. So if you slept that much, it's because your body needed it. So you were in a space of like your body communicating to you that's what you needed. And I guarantee after that how many hours you said like you felt amazing the next day.
Yeah. Oh,
right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we have to honor what our bodies need. We're so used to, like, we're in a grind and hustle culture where you just got to keep going no matter how you feel. You forget that you're hungry, you forget that you're thirsty. We're also massively dehydrated, but our bodies have grown accustomed to operating being dehydrated or being sleep deprived. So, and definitely malnutrition. So we're operating at typically like 40% when we could be operating at 100. So
I agree with that 100%. Yeah.
So anyway, you can find all my stuff on niajae.com, niajae.com.
No, you brought it. And I appreciate you sharing that, because again, a lot of people who may not listen to the whole thing, I'm going to piece this part in because I want people to specifically hear that. So you'll be hearing this specifically. I want you to go. I experienced it. I want you to go. I want you to do it. I want you to do it. I personally recommend it. So yes, that's what we're on. So thank you for coming through again. I feel like we could talk for a long time. So we're going to do the next part of this conversation on your show. Yes. So we got some stuff to talk about on there as well. So definitely thank you for coming through. I appreciate you taking the time out of your day. As always, anybody listening, make sure that you take care of yourself today. Take some time out to feel what you got going on. Yesterday, I'll share this really quickly and then we'll close out. I was praying in the rising. I was praying and I'm like, God, what do you want me to do today? And it was silence. And I'm like, God, did you hear me? and it was silence. I'm like, all right. Now, typically there's not silence ever in my head. So I'm like, okay, you know what? Wait a minute. And after I got done praying, I said, did all my stuff. And I'm like, yo, wait a minute. God was telling me to shut up. God was telling me to shut up and sit down and analyze all the things I've been doing. I've been going and going and going and putting out all these things, and have I been taking account of what has been coming back from those frequencies? Have I been checking my emotional inbox from those things, right? And so many times in this world, we look at social media and it's like, you got to keep going, keep going, keep going, hustle, hustle, hustle. But how often do they say, sit and really open your frequency inbox and see what came back to you that you sent out? We're missing opportunities. We're missing chances to just connect with ourselves, connect with other people, because we're not checking the inbox. So sometimes you got to take the time to just sit still and check what you sent out and see what came back. So I encourage you to take a moment to just stop, set aside some time, and just really realize and think about what has come back to you, and understand, be grateful, and feel that, and accept it or reject it. Sometimes it's things you don't want. Make sure that you take it for what it is and then you release it. But you have to take accountability for where you are, and you have to take inventory of what has come back to you that you sent out. Sometimes we're moving so fast, we don't realize what we asked for is already here. We already leveled up to the level we're trying to get to, but we're so busy trying to keep up with what's going on. We don't know that you've reached the pinnacle of what you wanted to do, and now it's time to do something different. So take that moment to really feel for where you are and get a feel for what you've already accomplished in your life and what's come back to you. So I'll close out with that. But as always, thank you, Niajae, for coming through. Be dope and be great. Peace.